Hi everyone, my name is Katie. I am an occupational therapy student that has been doing my level 2 fieldwork experience at Killingly Public Schools with Lucy Garcia. Today I'm going to upload a series of short videos on different presentations that I have presented to the team at Killingly. I will try to include and attach the PowerPoint presentations that go along with each video. However, if I'm unable to do so, Lucy does have a copy of all of these so that you can refer back to. The first presentation I'm going to talk about is how to implement OT virtually in the school setting. So for this presentation, I watched 3 different webinars and took the information from each of these webinars and came up with ways on how we can implement it virtually. The first webinar was about mindfulness, movement, and social emotional learning. So this webinar talked about the use of yoga to improve self-regulation and attention. It also discussed the importance of mindfulness and body awareness through use of breathing, movement, and rest. So a way we can implement this virtually is to start our sessions off with a warm-up. So we can either do a fine motor activity exercise or a gross motor activity exercise. There's a ton of videos on YouTube that you can utilize, or you can also come up with your own. You can also have the student do a few different yoga poses to help prepare them and regulate them for whatever OT activity you're going to have them do virtually. This webinar also talks about the importance of breathing techniques. So depending on your students' needs, if they can do an imagery such as blowing out the candles, or if they need more of a visual aid, you can have them lie on their back, put a stuffed animal or something on their stomach, and have them raise the stuffed animal 5 or 10 times. You can also incorporate using bubbles or straws and cotton balls. This will help to incorporate a sensory component, but it'll also address oral motor skills. The webinar also talks about the use of meditation and its positive effects. I personally have done my capstone project on meditation and have found a significant amount of research that backs this up. I would use meditation for older students, such as in middle school or high school. Headspace application is a great app that you can use. It's about 10 minutes long that you can have them do as a warm-up or as a cool-down. For a cool down, you can also do a relaxation activity, so put on some relaxing, calming music and have them get into a calming position. So if you see my PowerPoint presentation, I do have some visuals on different movements and positions that the student can get into. The second webinar was about practical and effective strategies to improve self-regulation and executive functioning skills. So this webinar talked about the importance for self-regulation prior to performing tasks that require executive functioning skills. They also talk about sensory strategies and ergonomics. So again, we can do a warm-up where you can do either gross or fine motor movement and incorporate some proprioception such as self-hugs or doing wall push-ups. You can also, depending on what they have at home, you can utilize different materials such as like Play-Doh or anything else that they have readily available. This webinar also again talks about the importance of breathing techniques. The speaker of this webinar really suggests using cooling the pizza from her personal experience. She felt like that was the best strategy that she's seen used with her students. Ergonomics is also a big component, being that us as OTs, we were always able to assess the classroom environment and give the teachers some different strategies or modifications that they can use. However, since now there's all virtual learning, we can do a virtual home assessment with the parent and provide them with the information on different adaptation or modifications that they can make at home. We can also educate the parents on different sensory strategies to implement during remote learning classes, such as movement breaks or different chair options. Lastly, the third webinar I watched was Rhythm of the Words, Integrated Multicultural Folk Songs to Improve Literacy. And this webinar talked about the importance of children's music to help support development of sensory integration, motor, and language-based literacy. So a way we can implement this is have them do a sing-along during a warm-up or a cool-down. We can also make a video of ourselves doing movements and have them watch and follow it, or we can do it as we're doing our virtual sessions. Initially, this was proposed to do with other students, but we can teach the parents or caregivers or siblings how they can do it with the students so that it can enhance that social component. And the purpose of this is really because it can be fun, relaxed, and enjoyable for the students.